each human soul is their own expression. And if we could stand alone, integrated in love, holding compassion and kindness, we could move a lot quicker into this new vibration of cooperating with each other. We could stand in vulnerability because we wouldn't determine our success by being validated by others. Yeah. We would have a knowing deep inside of us.
Welcome to Conversation for the Soul. I'm Linda Christine, and today I talk with my dear sweet friend Anne Ferrel Cox. Now, for those of you that don't know Anne, she is a flight attendant by day, spiritual guru by night. No, just kidding. She would not appreciate the guru comment. She's very much a humble, to herself spirit, and becoming more so. And she's going to tell us why she's going more within, and her observations of the spiritual community. No judgment, pure observations, beautiful insights for all of us to consider and think about and contemplate. I would love to hear what you guys think about her thoughts on this. And then at the end, she gives us a beautiful channeled message and a prayer. And then we lost connection, but it was almost a full hour, so we did good. She's great. You're going to love her. Please tell me what you think. And you know where I'm going. Like, share, subscribe. Please. This is how beautiful souls like Anne, like everybody else I've been talking to, get out there, get noticed, and get their stories heard. The stories are the teachers, and they're beautiful teachers. Nuggets, wisdom, insights. They're just so good. So without further ado, here's Anne. Sorry, YouTube people, you're going to miss the first couple minutes. But wow, that's, So of all the places that you've gone, what was the energy that really made you go, this is not what I expected?
Well, I think it's the opposite of that. So I go to so many places, but what I see is that all humans are alike. Every civilization or continent is basically participating in the same experience. They care about their families and the beauty of where they live, or if they don't have a lot of resource, surviving. But basically, I see the similarity in all the hearts of humanity. So then if we take it back, and I've gone to a lot of countries that were very powerful civilizations, and they have completely disappeared, like Peru, like Egypt. Well, even though I love Rome, it's not what it was, and the empire crumbled. So it just makes me think, what is it about the humans on the planet today, and particularly in the US, that we think we're infallible, that we think we cannot fall? So it makes me realize how precious this life is. And it seems to me, just in observing and witnessing my evolution and the evolution of humanity ever since the veil was lifted on my perception of things, that we still have a problem. Maybe it's not a problem, but it's a separation that a lot of humans just want to create for themselves. And even in spiritual community or religious or whatever community they may be in, they're interested in putting their energy into things that they will benefit from. And what I'm seeing and learning is that we need to be participating in things that the greater good will benefit. And perhaps we won't receive a benefit that's in money or energy immediately, but in the long term, it will have a ripple effect that impacts more than just the point of light that we are.
Yeah.
Now, since I do channel other energies that are outside of my consciousness, I went to Athens back in October and I connected with the energy of Artemis, which I did not really realize what a powerful goddess she was until I just went to France a few weeks ago. And she gave me a lesson about the sisters of Athena at that time. Women couldn't own property. They were basically like slaves. Even though we consider them goddesses, they had no rights. Now, we know as women, we bring forth the male souls, but the males were in complete domination of the women. So the message that she gave me was, we are in our superpower when we have no desire to be acknowledged, when we can operate hidden and holding the sacred love and knowing our purpose without being validated. And this message seems to be lost in space and time. And what she said was, we can get out of balance when we try to step into this masculine energy, that really our true power is operating in the darkness, essentially, like back in caves. So it just really made me think about how I was creating, and it actually made me feel better about being quiet and being unacknowledged. And I really haven't been active in social media or at all, or posting or anything, because I'm just trying to integrate that. Like, how can I serve in my community? How can I serve without a need to be validated or acknowledged? So I've really been trying to embody this, and it's not an easy thing to do, because it's opposite of what we consider to be successful or helpful, right? We feel like we need followers, or we need resource, or we need things outside of us to make us feel that we're contributing.
Yeah.
So it seems to come from a deep knowing of who you are and what your desire is for the outcome on this earth.
But with what you just said in mind, how do you go about letting people know that you offer prayers, that you can assist them in healing? I mean, if you're not out there, you know what I mean? It's kind of a double-edged sword.
Well, it seems like embodiment seems to be the key to all of that. And I feel that I serve just by being a human on this earth at this time, with people that are put in front of me. Even they might not know that I write prayers, or that they could be receiving a healing just by being in my presence. So I'm not intending upon that, but I know that the guides use me to activate and alchemize energy just by me being a container for the light that I'm carrying. So each day I set the intention to be a conduit for whatever the divine would like me to do. It's almost a little bit easier in a way, because I have no expectation about what could unfold in the day. And it's always very interesting.
Yeah, when you get into that flow state and you're just allowing spirit and your intuition to guide you, amazing shit can happen.
It's absolutely incredible. And like, the trip to Egypt was amazing. But before I went to Egypt, I knew there was something with these Egyptian obelisks that are all over the world. And I don't want to say how many there are because I don't want to say the wrong number, but there's many, many obelisks all over. And I think in Rome alone, there's 13.
Now, what are those?
They are like a pyramid that's long, like the Pentagon. So they carry an energy and hieroglyphics that are on there. And I can't read hieroglyphics, so I'm not exactly sure what they say. But what I believe is that they're grid points. I believe they're set in specific locations to carry energy. And so the guides were showing me where I needed to go when I first went to Paris before I went to Egypt. And they showed me that the obelisk was in the center grid point of Paris. Like it was an access point to all of Paris. And I'd never been there. So I just knew I had to go there. And I walked and I walked and I got there. And I'm always so surprised when the guidance I get is exactly what I saw, because then I got there and I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what they showed me, that this obelisk is exactly in the middle, the access point to every part of Paris. So it just makes me think that these access points are not a mistake where they're placed in other cities. So
Well, they're probably on ley lines, right?
I couldn't tell you definitively because I haven't done the research, but yes, more than likely they're on ley lines. So anyway, the trip to Egypt was absolutely incredible, and just seeing all the wisdom that has been left behind by our ancestors really impressed upon me. What legacy are we leaving as a race? If someone comes to the US and we're all gone, what are we leaving behind? So it just really imprinted on me about what type of legacy I can leave behind that we can be proud of. And I wish that we could impress this upon every human to be creating in love. And we could shift humanity. We could shift out of this energetic vortex we're in of good and evil, because people could be thinking outside of their timeline. They could be thinking about what they can do for their ancestors, what we can do for this earth when we're not here any longer. So
Yeah.
it was important to think about that.
What could be our legacy?
Exactly. What could be our legacy? So if anybody watching this, if you just felt into what is the legacy you're leaving, are you just concerned about, your daily life, or are you thinking about what you can leave behind for your ancestors? Now, of course, people are always thinking about resource and money that they want to leave, but I think there's more than that. I think there's more to this legacy of love that we can leave behind for our ancestors.
Yeah.
And it starts with not judging. It starts with not judging what's happening on this earth. It starts with not judging ourselves, so that we can start holding compassion for people that are perhaps acting out in ways that don't feel helpful or positive, and just see that it's part of this creation process that we're in. And there seems to be so many perspectives on this road to home. I'll tell a little story. And like I said, so many things happened to me just in my own environment without me saying I'm a healer or whatever my purpose is. And I was on a trip and I went to lunch with the other flight attendant. I just happened to run into him in the workout room. So he came, then he starts telling me how he's an empath and he has all these gifts, but it overwhelmed him. And we were in a very deep conversation at the lunch. So the people next to us could hear us. And when we left, the lady came up to us at the elevator and gave him a slip of paper and said she felt like he must be searching for something. And this was the answer that was on the slip of paper. So it was the Doreen Virtue Instagram, because she renounced the New Age only for Jesus Christ. Now, anyone who follows me or knows me knows that Jesus is my brother, and I channel the energy of Jesus. I've merged my consciousness with Jesus. I think Jesus is amazing and a powerful teacher, but Jesus is not the only way to the beloved. And my point is, there are more than one way to get to where we're going on this road to the beloved. And if we can stop judging how other people are getting there and work on ourselves and what we're doing to share this legacy of love, to make a difference in this world, and stop looking outside of us and doing the work to do what we can do, not point the finger at what everyone else can do or what they're doing wrong.
Robin Quarles is on here watching, and she said, if we signed up to be compassionate and hold space for those who are coming to their awareness now, we need to follow through with it, or we'll start all over again.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's super important, because when I first got on this road, I'd be like, oh, I would never do that. Well, no one is ever going to do anything the way I'm going to do it. So no one's doing any of this wrong. Every single soul is on their own journey, and we're here to help each other. And we can get into disagreements with each other, but that doesn't mean that we can't love each other and show compassion, because we can learn new ways of doing and being. And even if that means accepting ways that we don't feel comfortable with, that might be a growth point. We just have to learn how to see new ways that we can create together, even if we hold different perspectives.
Yeah, I don't know where things took a turn, but like I grew up in a household with my mom and dad. My mom was Democrat, my dad was Republican. Now, God forbid that happen now, because there'd be all out war, stuff flying around the house and everything. But they respected each other's opinion. They didn't agree. They spoke to the points that mattered to them, but now if you say what you are, you could have people like attack you, and it's gotten out of control.
Yes, they will literally bring you a piece of paper to show you the way, because you clearly are on the wrong path. Because they have the right path and you need to be on it, because there's only one way to go.
And I don't know when this change happened, because I even talk about this with my 30-year-old. It's like, okay, we could agree to disagree. That used to be a thing. It's not a thing anymore. You go my way or it's the highway, buddy. I don't want to talk about it. It's like total cancel culture.
Well, I think a lot of it, I try to think about it, there's limited resource because we have so many distractions, and people want to watch television or news or whatever. They have to work
TikTok all day.
And they have limited time to consider that there are other ways of creating. And I mean, I hardly put any energy into watching television or anything outside of me, but it does take a lot to clear this energy when I'm out in public, because there's so much happening. It's just overwhelming.
Yeah. And do you feel, I know you're not, I hate the word conspiracy, but I don't know what else to call it. You don't go down that rabbit hole as often as I do, but Something was on one day. It might have been around the holidays. I kind of was binging on Hallmark movies because those are like the only good movies anymore that make me happy. And every time a commercial came on, I felt like something was penetrating my brain. I just had to turn it off. It was like there was some all out attack on my brain.
Well, Dolores Cannon says that you can go into a trance, and I think she said in like 10 seconds with the television on. So I do think there's a technology that most people aren't aware of, that they are attacking you. They are
Yeah.
imprinting their message subconsciously into your brain. And so even if no one believed in a conspiracy theory, you have to know that these marketers are experts at imprinting their message that you need to buy their product. And it goes beyond that now. I think they're trying to
Yeah.
imprint messages that are more than just buying things. I think they're imprinting political messages, messages that involve spirituality, so many messages. And so, what can we do? All we can do is be more conscious with what we're consuming. And this consumption even has to do with our diet, what we're eating physically, where we go, what products we use on our skin, what we're drinking. It's
Yeah.
There's so many things that are imprinting upon us. And if we want to stay in a state of neutrality, if we want our nervous systems to remain calm, to get out of fight or flight, we really have to do a lot of work to maintain our peace.
Yeah. How do you, for impasse, how do you maintain that peace? You're in a busy airport, you're in like LaGuardia or something, and you got freaking chaos around you. I know you can maintain your peace, but how would a regular person who's like, "Oh my God, this all these energies, I'm going to be sick. I can't handle it."
Well, it's been difficult because you know that I was out of work for so long because of carpal tunnel syndrome, which is your nervous system is inflamed essentially. So even though I thought I was calm, my body was taking in all of
That's
that
right.
energy. So I just had to have a lot of time off of work and out of those energies. And to heal, I did something called network spinal, which does these little points on your spine that help release energy. I did massages. I just went back to self care because here I thought I was calm. I was meditating, my hours a day. It still wasn't doing anything. So sometimes I think the energies are so powerful that we don't even know that they're imprinting on us until we do take on an illness or a disease or, carpal tunnel or whatever it is. So I just think it's something that's in our reality and we just have to balance it.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be ramping up for quite a number of years. And I also been hearing a lot lately, or it's been coming into my awareness about the pole shifting too, and how that's just creating so much energetically for the planet and for the humans on it. I don't know if you've heard anything about that or not.
Well, you're asking me how I keep my peace. I hardly ever watch anything, even spiritual things, or even read other people's channeling because the guidance I get is there's nothing I can do outside of myself.
Well,
So
that's true.
if I am concerned about this ascension date that's coming up or the energies that might be influencing me in the future, it's hard for me to stay at peace and trust and surrender that all is being taken care of. I'm one point of light, and my concern is maintaining my energetics so that I can be available to help when I'm called to do that. And I try to stay in Christ consciousness, which is neutrality. So sometimes if let's say I've been at work and I've been immersed in all these energies, and then I start studying these types of predictions, I can get down a rabbit hole. I can lose my energy. So it sounds, a little simple, but that's what works best for me just for right now until we see what else is to come.
Yeah, it sounds like a very monastic life. And I know
Well,
you're more fun than that.
I still do lots of things that bring me joy. That seems to be the best medicine, is just to do things that make me happy. And of course, I don't want to, give guidance if it's not requested. But what the guides show me is that our purpose on this planet is to hold light. I'm a container for this
Yeah.
light. And the way that I can hold the light in the highest service to the divine is by holding joy in my heart. So I do things that bring me joy. And if I'm in pain, or if I'm hurt, or if I'm down some rabbit hole, I'm not holding this joy. So if I can hold it most of the time, all these other things don't imprint upon me. And then I see that more and more things come in my reality that bring me more joy.
Yeah, yeah. And it always circles back to this with every single conversation. If your purpose here is to just be you, be at peace and joyful within yourself and hold the light, then you're amazing. You're doing incredible work. You don't need to do all these fancy things.
Exactly. So that's the message I get. And then when it was enforced by Artemis, and then when I went to Egypt, there's so many things that we can talk about. It's a beautiful experience, but the pyramids were built so that the kings could experience out of body experiences. And so the energetics, the geometries, everything about how the pyramids were built and where the rooms were placed were all to help the humans that went into these chambers leave their bodies. Now, I have the technology that I can leave my body easily and I become a wave, but it's very important to allow our bodies to heal. So here's this whole entire civilization that built these chambers that were basically healing chambers for the body. And they would go into these chambers and get in these sarcophagus to be reborn, to have, it's really like Easter, to have a rebirthing process. So if we can find ways that we can heal our bodies, that we can take a rest and relax and start over with a fresh approach, it's the same ideas that the Egyptians were trying to experience. Now,
Why
I've read
leave your body? What's the purpose of leaving their body?
the purpose of leaving their body is so that their body could undergo a healing. Like we fast, right? We're fasting to purify. It was a purification process. So they went through these levels of initiation so that they could separate from their human personality and ascend into the heavens. Their soul could be released from their body for X amount of time. I've read that it was 3 days, and they would have high priests that oversaw their bodies. And then when they came back in, they could live longer.
Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What ages did they live to be back then?
Well, like by numbers, there's not many that lived a long time. So I think it was more of a quest, which can take you to the whole quest, right? Like, look at all the resource that they put into this just
Mhm.
to have this quest to merge with the light of creation or Ra or any of these deities. They use those boats. You've seen the boats in the pictures because they felt that the boats took you to heaven. Like, your soul would get on one of these boats and take you to the heavens, would
Wow.
take you to the heavens. But that was the whole purpose for the pyramids.
Hmm.
It's very interesting. You have to go through these deep tunnels. I stopped going into them and I almost had a panic attack in the king's chamber. And we had about 2 hours in the king's chamber, just our group. And we got inside the sarcophagus. And you really could feel the energy. And a lot of people had a lot of profound experiences.
Wow.
The most interesting thing are the tombs, though, because it tells a story of their lives. So it's imprinting still that story of a legacy. What legacy are we leaving as humans on this planet? And they were very beautiful. I was moved to tears in a lot of the tombs.
Mm. Yeah. US has got nothing, man. We got trash dumps all over the place. That's going to end up being our legacy, you know?
So we have to make a difference. We have to leave a legacy of love. And that's just impressed upon me everywhere I go, just being loving imprints upon people. So another beautiful part of Egypt are the temples. So the temples were initiations. So we're in a live initiation as humans, but they were fortunate enough to go to a temple and have guidance to move through the levels of initiation
Hmm.
to become embodied. They had a format. Our format seems to be kind of loose. And what is it that we value? What is it that makes people want to be more ascended in consciousness? Is it to be kinder, to be more compassionate, to be more loving? Or is it to get more followers or be more noticed? So it just makes me really evaluate what I'm creating in this life. And I just want to be sure that I'm creating for the greatest good and with love. And I am going to leave a legacy of love no matter what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested in also hearing about your Palm Springs experience because I had an indigenous experience in Texas when I was in Waco, and I don't recommend anyone go there. It was so freaking intense. I felt like something jumped into me and possessed me because I became a whole different person. I reverted in consciousness back like a decade or more. And as soon as I left the town, it's like it was gone. It wasn't there anymore. And then when I dug into why that would be, well, we all know Branch Davidians and what a massacre that was. And then there was an indigenous massacre of the people of Waco that first settled there. They wiped them all out. It was horrific. So
I really get
so
sad
imprinted.
when I think about, you know, Homo sapiens in general. You know, people will talk about how bad they think humans are now, but I mean, when Homo sapiens were conceived, we were already killing people and trying to own everything and, you know, rule everyone. So I think we're really experiencing that. And I think what I've started doing is stop judging like that experience you had. There must have been a reason that you needed to
Yeah.
feel that. So whenever we feel something, I don't think we need to say, oh, you know, I got attacked by an entity or whatever. There was some reason that we needed to experience that feeling, whatever it is. And it probably took you down a path that made you discover new things about yourself.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
hold more compassion. I just think this whole experience is about holding more compassion. When I went to Palm Springs, I did a healing on someone, and because of my hands being impacted, I could really feel the energy. I've never felt anything like that in my life. So I know that that has a purpose too. These energies are very powerful. But when I was doing a healing, I heard a bunch of native sounds and language, and even a prayer came through that I didn't even know what it was. I just heard it when I was doing the healing, and it was a beautiful prayer about beauty. So everywhere we go, there's been an imprint left by whomever is living there now, whomever's been there in the past. Yep. Everywhere you go, everywhere I go, every human that's walking on this earth is imprinting. So do we want to imprint in a positive way? Do we want to leave a beautiful legacy that's supportive? So our ancestors come and they do a healing wherever we were, and we send them a beautiful prayer of support. This is the type of legacy that we can leave. And no one has to know that we're doing it. We do this quietly, secretly. We hold the light. And I always play with the idea that the most ascended master of this time could be completely invisible. They could be a homeless person in Los Angeles living in a tent, observing this human existence and just holding the light without the need to be acknowledged. So I try to do that. I know that it goes against everything that we've been taught in order to be seen, but it seems to be very powerful to just do your work in stillness and in quiet.
Yeah. But then what about the teachers that are here, the way showers that are here to share lessons and things like that? I mean,
I think it's I'm not in judgment of what anyone.
Oh, no, I'm not saying you are. I'm just asking, and how would that we dovetail into everything you're talking about?
Well, I think that what I see happening, and this is only my perspective, I have had so many beautiful teachers that I am so grateful for, in physical and in non-physical. But what I've been spending my time doing is integrating the wisdom that's been imparted to me from every one of these teachers into my own expression. So I feel that this is very important, that we can start following a teacher and then we can't even make a move without them. We have to go to whoever we're seeing for guidance. We can't make our own decision because we don't really quite know who we are, because we haven't taken this time to analyze and determine and to hear what our purpose exactly is beyond the wisdom that we integrated from the teacher. Each human soul is their own expression. And if we could stand alone, integrated in love, holding compassion and kindness, we could move a lot quicker into this new vibration of cooperating with each other. We could stand in vulnerability because we wouldn't determine our success by being validated by others. Yeah. We would have a knowing deep inside of us that we were serving in our divinity without this need for approval, followers, likes, and everything. And I think eventually it will be a flow, but right now it seems to be a big transition. That's what I'm observing, because everyone thinks they have the answer. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think anyone does. I don't think there's one teacher on this earth that knows what's going to happen. And if they say they do, I guess they have a lot more confidence than I do. But what I've been taught is that none of us know what is going to happen outside of us. All we can control is what is happening inside of us. And I think, not to step out too far, that a lot of people use this information to try to get more business, more followers,
Yeah.
more resource. And I don't know if they're really serving the highest good of creator.
Yeah. Because why would an entity come to one person and say, "Hey, here's the date when the solar flash is going to hit," and not tell anybody else? I mean, it just seems like there'd be a lot of people getting the same thing at the same time, if we're all tapped into the real shit that's going on.
If we're all tapped into the unified field, what I like to call this source or God is the light of creator, we would all be receiving the same information. And the information I receive is I don't need to know. I don't have to have this information because it doesn't matter to me. There's nothing I need to do. I don't need to say something to someone that I should have apologized for. I don't need to create a life outside of the one I'm living to be fulfilled. Everything is perfect. So it just doesn't do me any good when I start projecting into the future about, I'm living as Anne right now, but on March 25th, I'm going to ascend outside of my body and move to a new earth. It has no impact on how I'm going to live my life.
Right. Absolutely.
So I know that's not how most people look at this. People want answers. People come to me and they want me to predict the future. The future is full of potentials that we may or may not meet. How I can meet my highest potential is by staying in a state of love, gratitude, neutrality. And I keep my eyes open for ways that I can create more beautiful things on this earth. If I can help more people clear distortions from their reality that help them vibrate in love, I want to do it. If I can give you a message that shifts the way you look at the experience you've been through, I'd love to help you with that, but I cannot heal anyone. I can help them find a path to love, but other than that, I cannot do anything else.
Yeah. We have to, it's all in here. We have to do the work.
So this thing with the teachers, I think I see many teachers stepping back and being in stillness, and I feel aligned with that right now. Now, if people would like to tap into messages I've received and it's helpful to them, I'm always available. Anyone can message me when I go to the Wailing Wall. If you would like me to take prayers that you have either written or you'd like me to transcribe, I'd love to be the conduit of your wishes and desires. I'm always available, but I'm not the one doing it. The guidance is working through me. I'm a conduit for this. And we are really experiencing some dramatic things. And I feel that it's only going to accelerate. So the more people that can be placeholders for peace, the more people that can be here to witness others in pain, the easier it will be for us all to come together, for us to see that we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Guides, show me so many things, and it's really difficult for us to understand this. But what they were showing me, it's in the Bible, but if one of us murders, we're all murderers. It's an aspect of all the whole human
Yep.
consciousness. And that murderer is just one aspect of this light that we are all holding. So I don't resonate with being violent or murdering, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to disown that human soul. More than likely, they've had a pattern of no love in their life. They haven't had examples. They made a lot of bad decisions. But if that is existing in this format of being human, we're all responsible for this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've all been an aspect of that,
We have all
So,
been an aspect of
yeah.
it.
So to cast judgment on that is like, well, you're casting judgment on yourself because more than likely you were that too at one time.
And I think that's very hard for people to accept, that
Yes.
there's polarities in creation. What I've been taught, the guidance I have received is that it's all creation, and that's the way to look at it instead of judging it as good or bad. Sometimes after something very dark and very scary, we have a backlash that we turn to love. When there's a tragedy, people join together. When there's a sickness, when there's different events that
Yep.
seem to be creating something that is not what you wanted, somehow they propel you where you're supposed to go. So you're writing that book about your cancer. So that's a perfect example of something that you didn't desire pushing you onto the path of creation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to hear your channeled message that you received before you came on.
Well, and I really haven't been doing much channeling other than writing my prayers, which I still do. And if anyone would like a prayer or like a message from me, please reach out. Please contact me. I'd love to help anyone I can see through new eyes. So here's the message: the unknown path, the path of a devoted servant to the cause of love, is the utmost desire. When you can feel, see, hear that this experience is a culmination of each and every that has gone before you, that you stand as an expression of the divine, you will see that all is in perfection. The path that leads to home is the path. The path of one desire is the path of each and every soul. There are many paths to the beloved, each and every just as vital and important as another. When we can take judgment out of our own perception, we will take the judgment from another. Each and every soul here to hold the light in their unique format. Come to a state of peace and move towards acceptance, neutrality, love of self as one, as an aspect of Creator, here to share the universal expression with all who seek the light.
Mm.
Now, here's a prayer that they gave to go with it. My Father, the light of your love flows through me. Allow me the patience, the fortitude to do your work. Allow the energies of creation to work through me. Bring the peace of your heart to my being. Allow me the favor of emulating the stillness of your divinity. Make me a conduit for all the love of creation. Through your grace, I am one with you. Amen.
Mm. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And for those that don't know, Anne's prayers are amazing. They are transformative. It's like every time I get mine, I'm like, every month, I'm like, oh my God. It's like, have you been sitting in my room watching me? Spirit says
I,
exactly what I
I'm
need to
always
hear.
amazed. Well, you know that because you know me. I'm always like, oh my God, that was right. Like, I totally trust the prayers now when they come through. And you know, just this whole ability that every human soul has to access fractals of wisdom that are higher aspects of you is incredible. It's a beautiful gift, but you have to be able to trust it. And sometimes you might receive guidance that goes against anything you've been creating up until now, but you just have to go with it. You can feel that in your heart. You know what the right thing is to do. And sometimes it might be going against what your partner wants for you or what you've been doing so far, but just take a chance. We can create more than we are, but we're limited by our
We lost you, honey. She said this might happen. And I was hoping it wouldn't. I'm just going to sit here and see if she comes back on. If not, oh, and she dropped. Maybe she'll pop back in. This has been amazing. Oh, there she is. Yay. We'll see if she can make it back on. Yeah, what a great conversation, huh? She is a wise sage. Well, Miss Anne, is it gonna happen? No here, no here, no here. She's laughing at something. I don't know what. Can you hear me?
Can you see me?
Oh, now you're kind of doing that Matt
Can you see
syndrome
me?
thing. You're kind of doing
I
that.
can hear you.
Eh, eh, eh,
Can
eh,
you
eh.
hear me now?
I can
Yeah.
hear you, but it's
Is it working?
you're freezing, but I can hear you.
Okay.
So let's bring this home. Wrap it up. What are your final thoughts?
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, if you release expectation from anything that you have created until now, and you can get in the flow state of trusting beyond yourself, and you can trust the inklings of your heart, and you can follow the path of light, you will reach a potential that you would have never dreamed of. There are beautiful things to create beyond what is known within us. And we just have to trust that we're getting there by taking that first step that flows with joy.
Mm, mm. And it's like, every word that was so important got
Could you hear me?
accentuated there and drawn out. So, my dear, the technology is not supporting us right now. So we should say goodbye. But we'll do this again real soon. In fact, I think we should do it in person real soon. And you are gone, but you are frozen. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for coming on here. I'm going to put all of Anne's information in the description box below. Not on Facebook, but when I repost this to YouTube, and then I'll share it on Facebook too. Oh, I love you, Anne. You are amazing. What a great conversation. And I'm going to go ahead and sign myself off here. Bye.